Totally. I like what you said in the beginning about people using different, social media, books, pleasures of whatever substances to avoid. What I call those are buffers. Like people tend to use buffers. And we do that because, like you said, you want to fill that space with something that's familiar, something, because also once you get to where you're going, well, before you get there, what is it? It's the unknown. What do we fear? The unknown.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're afraid to get to our highest state because we don't know what's there, but we do know what's there. So what we're doing is helping people see that it's there and guide them there.
Yeah.
And to help them look at their buffers or their, what else would you call it? A buffer or
a method or even a trap. Well, a method can be a trap.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like just something you're doing to avoid.
Yeah.
And when we
or a distraction. Oh well, in terms of avoidance, I would say like distraction.
Yeah, we use them as a distraction.
The truth is always available to you. It's always in the background, like knocking on you, being like, "Hey, listen up." But we distract ourselves from it because it comes with the entire truth, and the entire truth is not all light. But it is. In the absolute, there's only light. But in the human experience, there's polarities.
Yeah.
So you experience both light and dark in the human experience. So when most people will distract themselves because they try to avoid the darkness of living a human experience because they can't accept the full pain of it or the full discomfort of knowing that these things exist.
And think of what do we associate with darkness as human beings. Think of the language we use to describe our human experience too. I think we were talking about this in a different form, but buzzwords.
Right. Yeah.
Right? But think of it like when and this kind of brings me back to my mediumship and being fearful of the truth or my gifts was because I always associated it with darkness. And then with darkness, I also associated it with fear or being alone or not seeing. So what was that? That was unknown. I couldn't see, I didn't know what was there.
Yeah.
So I think too, just being mindful of the language that we use to describe our human experience is huge too. So I started accepting and loving on the darkness. And then when I realized like we must have ultimate pain and darkness if we're going to have the abundance and euphoria and those higher vibration frequencies, like you said, we live in a polar universe, and so like there must be the darkness or the light and the darkness. So I think my point is to just like not associate bad with the dark.
Yes, exactly. I don't see anything as bad anymore. Nothing is inherently bad. It depends on what you want. If you want to live your life as old as you can, then damaging foods are bad, but they're not bad in themselves. If you want to feel pleasure, if you want to taste pleasure all day, every day, then they're good because you're getting what you want. It's all about relativity. It's all about how you relate to it. So there's nothing inherently good or bad. It depends on what your goals are in your life, what you choose, how you choose to live your life, how you choose to be.
Yeah.
That's how you determine what's good or bad, and that's different for every single person. So there isn't a objective good or bad. Everybody sees good or bad differently. A lot of people agree on some basics, but still, if you pick them apart enough, you'll see that there's no concrete floor there. There's nothing determining, yes, this is 100% bad. It can never be good. There's no scenario where something is always bad. You can think of something in a way that it could be beneficial or good in some way.
Oh, go ahead.
But so seeing the dark in that way is like it's a true blessing because the way you talked about it, the unknown. That's a one way I've always thought of it as well. Is that I always used to fear the unknown, whether it be the manifestation of dark. Like that's how it kind of manifests itself in the physical world. Is when you're in the dark, you don't see. So it's the unknown being physically manifested, and when you don't see, anything could be there, and that very thought of anything could be there. And with the simple indoctrination we get when we're very young that things can hurt you and things are bad, we automatically, when we go into the unknown, like something could be good here, but something could be bad. And your body or your mind is kind of tuned through evolution to seek out that which will harm you in order to stay alive. So when you're in the unknown, your body thinks what could happen. And it does that in a way to protect you, but at the same time, we get so caught up in the fear of it that it overwhelms us, and then we're like basically paralyzed by the fear. Rather than being like, oh yeah, there could be a tiger in this dark, so I better be prepared, rather than, taking a strong stance and getting ready to fight, you start freaking out. You just be like, oh my God, there could be a tiger here. Yeah. And you just lose your mind, right?
Yeah.
So finding that comfort in the dark, finding, like, I guess it would be like a good practice. Like I did this with my nieces the other day. We were up in my mother's room, and one of them went into her closet, and they both vary between their fear of the dark. Sometimes they're not scared of it, and sometimes they are. But at one point, one of them was in the closet in the dark, and I was like, I want to go in the dark. And I just wanted to show them that the dark can be fun. And I was like, let's go and get in the dark. And we were all chilling in the closet together in the dark for a couple minutes. And then I was like, the dark is exciting. Anything can happen in the dark. I was just trying to put that kind of idea in there, like have the positive idea about the dark rather than the negative. So the next time they're in the dark and I'm not there and they don't maybe feel as safe, they might be able to hear that in their mind, like the dark can be exciting. Because it means anything can happen. That's the unknown. When you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, like if you just, everything changed in your life and you don't know who you're going to be tomorrow, that can be very terrifying, but it also can be very exciting. Because anything can happen.
Yeah. I love that. That gives me like a really good rush of like, yes. And like, I believe that so much. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.